his like actual engagement went down a little bit for like a couple weeks, and then it immediately started going back up because he started drawing in those new followers, and then his engagement rates actually like skyrocketed because he was reaching a whole new audience.
Hi Shelby.
Hi Ed.
So the first thing I thought I'd ask you is, why is it important to define who your target audience are on TikTok?
You gotta make videos to cater to your audience. It's important to know what they like and what their ages are, because everything changes, you know. Making videos for somebody who's 11, 12, and 13 is much different than making videos for people that are in their early 20s.
So when you started yourself, was that something you were thinking about straight away? Or was it something that kind of developed as you realised maybe you needed to take the platform more seriously to help generate money for yourself?
The first time I realized it was when I made a video, like I was making videos and they weren't consistently doing well, and they were kind of a little bit different than what I was posting originally. And I was like, okay, like what's happening? And then I decided to click on my analytics, and that's when I saw my audience skews a little bit older. I don't really have any kids like that are really young. It's mostly people in their like, you know, later teens and their 20s. So I had to make content that catered to them a little bit more. But it wasn't something that I was initially thinking about. If I was, I probably would have succeeded more and faster. So I definitely do think it's still important.
So it's interesting, you just mentioned analytics there. How often will you go in and actually check out the analytics about your target audience? Is it something that changes often, or is it something you can just check every month and leave?
I check my analytics, like I would say on average, like once every 3 days. Sometimes it starts to skew in one direction, but usually it's pretty consistent.
Your target audience isn't suddenly shifting age and getting older as more people come to the app or anything. It's staying similar to what it was when you started.
At least on my page, it's been staying pretty much the same.
So is there a particular example you can give about other times where maybe you've needed to know who your target audience is, whether that be working with sponsorship deals or with brands?
Yeah, definitely. So you need to know if your audience is mostly male or mostly female or their ages, because for an account like mine, it wouldn't be as effective for me to promote, you know, something for like little kids, like toys or something, but more effective to do things like bathing suits and new apps and things like that.
So when a business comes to you for sponsorship, is this the sort of thing they ask you for, or they've got some software that they can tell from this?
It's usually software that they can tell. If it's a startup brand that doesn't really have any like funding, sometimes they'll ask me, but typically there's software that just shows it.
And then do they kind of ask you to reconfirm that and show them some proof, or do they go by that anyway?
Usually they just go by that. I've only been asked one time to confirm.
When you've been doing TikTok for a little while and you've built an audience, if suddenly you decide, actually, I want to change my content or I want to go in a different direction, can you change target audience when you're already developed? Or do you need to start again?
Oh no, you can definitely change your target audience after you've already started. For example, a friend of mine, his target audience used to be a little bit younger, and he's decided to kind of make content for people that are a little bit older. And what I've seen in that specific case study is his like actual engagement went down a little bit for like a couple weeks, and then it immediately started going back up because he started drawing in those new followers, and then his engagement rates actually like skyrocketed because he was reaching a whole new audience.
Right, so is that because the content he's made is appealing more to that new audience than his old content used to the different audience?
Right, yeah. It was because his new content was catering to his new audience. But then he went and he made an OG video, like the content that he used to make for his older audience. And that video like blew up and did super well with like the mold of both audiences.
What's TikTok looking for there that's made that blow up?
I think they're just looking for loyalty. They want to see that people are really paying attention to their followers and paying attention to how the app is changing and shifting. And they like seeing people that really get it and notice that.
So as long as you're looking after your viewers and catering to their needs, if you take a hit, you might take a bit of a dive, but otherwise it should hopefully shoot back up again. Yeah.
And I say, like, don't get down on yourself if your content's gone down a little bit. If it's really not working after, a certain amount of weeks and you're like, okay, like it's time to change it, like back, then like that's okay. Don't be afraid to experiment with your account because you have a platform and it's all about creativity.
So how do you get to learn more about your target audience? Is there anything that you do personally yourself to try and find out a bit more data, a bit more information?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes if I'm really trying to dive into it, I'll click some of my really loyal followers and I'll like read through and their followers, like who they follow, and I'll try and see like what some of the other people that they like post, and I'll make videos that are kind of similar, or I'm like, okay, like that's something that I could maybe get into if I'm really doing a deep dive. But it's really beneficial because let's say you clicked on like 5 of your like most loyal followers and click to see who they are following, and they all really like videos about, you know, like art or cake or something. And I was like, okay, like I could, you know, make an art video of like some of the art I make, and you know, it might do really, really well.
So I've been reading up on the platform, and it appears that recently they're saying that there's an older following starting to come in. Have you noticed that number rise slightly, or is it still staying the same?
I mean, I've noticed some older followers that are, you know, on my account more so now. I know just from being in the space that a lot of my friends' moms are getting accounts, which is a little bit weird, but I mean, it's good to know, because if you're an influencer, you know, you can start to cater to those older demographics.
Is there anything you can do on TikTok to try and find out what other content that your followers are checking out?
There is. There's actually in the analytics button, you can click the button at the top that says followers, and at the bottom of that screen, you can see the videos that your followers most recently liked and watched. And it's really interesting because, you know, the videos might be totally different from what you do, or they might be the same thing. So it's just good insights of what videos you should make next.
Thanks a lot. Okay, so that's target audience covered. Thanks a lot for covering that with us again, Shelby. And join us soon in module 5, where we're going to be interviewing Shelby again. Thanks, Shelby.
Thank you.